But I can say that because he's my dearest friend of the current ESPN star team. So when you've got a very dear friend, you can get away with murder. Oh, by the way, the other thing I discovered with my growing up children was if you say you can get away with murder, they thought I was talking about Malika Sherawat. It's amazing how. Is it Papa? I said, no, I was talking of the more traditional meaning. And the reason I remembered this was because I saw my next point here, which said excellence is about desire. I told that fielding story earlier on. I was playing for my university and I'd field at backward point, which is the area that has become far more glamorous these days after Jaunty Rhodes and then Ricky Ponting and Yuvraj Singh started fielding there. And I would tell myself that I will not let a ball go past me. We had another player who had played for India schools, who was an excellent player, who'd field at cover. And we're losing a game. Nothing's happening in the game. And after a while your shoulders drop. And you tell me, chal re, agle 15 minutes mein na ek bhi ball nahi chhodenge apan log. All the Hyderabadis giggled. Right? And then that became a habit. And I said, look, come on. It's me versus the ball. And suddenly it made fielding a whole day exciting. Because every ball was me versus the ball. I said, okay, I'm not going to let the ball go past me. And that is desire. I wanted the ball to come to me. I always wanted the ball to come to me. Because I could then show that I was good at something. And I remember one of the games we were playing, a senior division game that we were playing. And there was this, I was feeling right on the boundary at long on. It can be much further than you think it is, especially if you played cricket on our IMA ground. And this ball was in the air for a very long time. It was curled. By the time I dropped the catch, I found the bowler, who later played for India, his name was Harsha. He had already taken his cap from the umpire and walked 5 yards away. And then he turned to me and said, "Chhod diye." I wanted the ball to come to me. And sometimes when you want things desperately, you can actually make them happen. There's no scientific explanation. But I think you just get lucky sometimes. I don't know what it is. And I sat there and said, hit one more to me, hit one more to me, every ball I'd say, hit one more to me. And that is the kind of desire that I think you must have. And that's why if you notice, I'm not giving any examples from my batting or my bowling. It's also about knowing everything that needs to be known about that profession. Everything that needs to be known. I'd stand there at backward point and I'd say, if the bowler is slow and this guy's on the back foot, it's going to come to my right. If the bowler is a little quicker, that means the batsman is a shade slower on the shot, it's going to go to my left. If he's on the front foot, then it's probably going to come off the chip. So and I spent ages just trying to figure that one out. And I found that when I got into television, I said, I will learn everything that is needed to be learned. Still make mistakes, but I'd like to think I make fewer. There's one thing I want to throw to all of you. Does excellence require luck? It's something I've debated myself a great deal. Does excellence require luck? Let's get some voices. No? When I was 21, 22 years old, and I had a debate with my mother who taught psychology, and I said there is no such thing as luck. I said if I work hard enough, I'll get my reward. If I bat well enough, I'll score runs. If I don't bat well enough, I won't score runs. There's no such thing as luck. And she said, yes, all studies have shown that is a typical 20, 21-year-old reaction. She said, when you're 45, you'll be exactly the opposite. And she told me how this was all about being internally driven and externally driven. And now that I'm closer to the age she talked about, sadly, my views are a bit different. But it's interesting, this whole debate about luck. What really is luck? So just sit back at home and my feeling is that luck is a combination of preparation and recognition. Sorry? It's preparation and recognition. Are you willing to slog your backside off when no one is watching? If you're going to slog your backside off when no one is watching, when that opportunity comes, you're ready for it? Also, which is even more important, you recognize the opportunity before it comes. Why are football strikers so great? I mean, if you watch football matches, you see these midfielders running up and down. You watch the defenders, the wings going charging up and then trying to center the ball in. They've got to run all the way back to defend. What are the strikers doing? So what's the big deal about being a striker? Why is one striker better than the other? Why do some strikers get into a better position than others? It's because they recognize an opportunity before it comes. And because they've recognized the opportunity, they find themselves in the right position. They're not lucky. Ronaldo's not lucky. In love, he's very unlucky. But in football, he is not lucky. Gary Lineker was the forward I watched a lot in the 1986 Football World Cup. Was not lucky. He just happened to be in the right positions. And he happened to be in the right positions because he knew what the right position was. And that comes from a combination of preparation and recognition. One of my favorite sayings in sport comes from Gary Player, the golfer, who said, it's funny, he said in an interview, he said, it's funny, the harder I practice, the luckier I get. And it's true, the harder you practice, the luckier you get. And Lance Armstrong, who just won his 7th straight Tour de France, you must read Lance Armstrong's books. They're a little mushy, they're a little sugary. If you like Hindi movies, you love Lance Armstrong's books. But he said, I don't win the Tour de France on the 24th of July on the Champs-Élysées. He said, I win the Tour de France when I'm riding in the mountains when no one else wants to. I go out in the winter and I ride in those mountains when nobody else wants to. That is when I win the Tour de France. I don't win it on the 24th at the Champs-Élysées. That just happens. That's taken for granted. But I win it when no one else is racing. And that is something that stayed with me a lot. Are we willing to work? And so when the opportunity comes, we can take it. So that is my view on luck. When opportunity knocks on the door, use it. How many of you saw Robin Williams' fantastic performance in, what's the name of the movie where he plays the professor? Dead Poets Society. Carpe Diem. Seize the moment. Pete Sampras was very good at seizing the day, at seizing the moment. Set point down, he produced an ace. That is why Sampras was different from Hewitt. Or that is why Sampras was different, essentially, from Tim Henman. Why is it that Tim Henman comes to a great position at Wimbledon every year and loses? Because when the moment comes, they can't raise their game. Excellence raises its game when the moment comes. I think excellence is more about humility, actually, even more than luck. Because unless you're humble, you'll never hang around, you'll never be willing to do what it takes for that opportunity to come. And the saddest thing about humility is that it's starting to become a cult virtue, which bothers me a little bit. And humility is something everyone should have. And some people say, wow, he's so humble, you know. As if to say, wow, he's got the latest Eminem CD. Yeah, wow, he's humble. Nonsense. Let me put you a couple of things about luck before I go on to my last couple of points. I think I've gone over, right? If you won't laugh at my jokes, I won't go over. I'll give you a couple of examples of luck and tell me whether they were luck or no. I was doing a program called Master Strokes on CNBC, where we had Saurav Ganguly as one of the panelists and Mr. Muthuraman, head of Tata Steel, as one of the panelists, and the topic came to luck. And the head of Tata Steel said, there is no such thing as luck when you're producing steel. Saurav Ganguly said, sir, but VVS Lakshman were 281 when we were down and gone and buried against Australia. If that is not luck, what is? Right? Was VVS Lakshman's 281 luck? Or was it a fantastic fusion of a person's talent and an opportunity spotted? You can have 2 points of view on that. My point of view on that would be a fantastic fusion. Not just luck. I mean, you need a certain amount. I mean, an edge can fall short. Science would prove that the edge was never meant to go to someone's hand, but we know that science is a funny way of working sometimes. But to my mind, that is a great combination of fusion, ability, and opportunity. But let me give you another example and tell me if that is luck. When we were all hoping to get into an IIM, straight after engineering college, or while we were still in engineering college, I got an interview letter from IIM Bangalore. And I found that there were 2 other boys, and you know how it is, the word spreads, you know, you got a call letter from IIM. You all gone through that. And on a campus, you know who's got a call letter, who hasn't. And then after a while, everyone started getting call letters from IIM Calcutta, and I didn't. So I was just sitting over dinner with my father and saying, you know, it's funny, there's a very high correlation between people who are getting IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore call letters and IIM Cal call letters. And I'm the only guy who's sort of, you know, must have done something really stupid. I'm the only guy who's sort of the odd man out. And he said, maybe the letter hasn't reached. And I said, yeah, fathers are fantastic at that, mothers are even better. And he said, okay, let me do one thing. I know where the interviews are held. Let me ask them if your name is in it. So I said, okay, they're held in the Administrative Staff College in Hyderabad. So he called up the librarian that he knew over there. The great benefit of being in Hyderabad is it's really a giant village. Everybody knows everybody else. So he called him up and he said, okay, when the professors from IIM Calcutta come, I'll ask them if his name is there. And he called that night and said, yeah, his name is there. I never got the letter. And then it went on. All my friends got reject letters from IIM Ahmedabad. And I got nothing. And I said, yeah, at least I must get a reject letter, As Sidhu often tells me, it's no good being a dog lying in the street if no one notices you. And I didn't get a reject letter from IIM Ahmedabad. I got no letter at all. No letter at all from IIM Ahmedabad. And I told my father, you know what, I've got no letter from IIM Ahmedabad. Everyone's got rejects, some people have got interview calls, some people have got rejects, I've got nothing. He said, maybe you didn't get the letter. I said, yeah, and you know what, I told my father this in a very brave moment. I said, lightning always hits the same place. He said, what's the worst thing that will happen to you? You call up the hotel where the professors are staying, ask them if your name is in the interview list. He said, they're not going to be so cruel as to bang the phone down on you. The worst thing that will happen is they'll say, sorry, your name is not in it. Your name is not in it. So I called up, I discovered from somewhere that they were staying in a hotel just after Abbott's. And I called up and I said, can I speak to a professor from IIM Ahmedabad? And I only did it, believe me, because I was petrified of my dad. And my son isn't of me. And Professor N.R. Sheth picked up the phone at the other end. And he said, how can I help you? And I said, sir, this is what it is. I'm actually feeling quite embarrassed to call you, and I know lightning won't strike twice, but this is what happened with me at IIM Calcutta. And I was just wondering if my name was there, and maybe the postman liked my letter very much and kept it. I mean, I didn't use those words. I was not brave enough, but one of the things you learn in the media is never let the truth come in the way of a good story. But I spoke along those lines. And he said, okay. He said, I can't open the list because it's sealed. It can only be opened in the presence of all the other professors. But he said, tell me what you do. What are you doing? And I said, I'm doing a final year of engineering, so I'm going through my final exams. And, my mind is more on this than on my exam, whatever. And he said, when are your exams on? And I said, day after and whatever. He called me that night. He took down my telephone number and he called me that night and he said, your name is in the interview list. And he said, but you told me your interview is scheduled for day after tomorrow. But you told me you had an exam day after tomorrow. So I've rescheduled it for tomorrow. Is that luck? Or did I make my luck by calling? If I had sat back, I would not have known. So think about that. Was that luck? Or did I make my luck? Like hell, it was luck, man. I don't know. And you know what? I thought I might have written the entrance test all right. Anyway, so I just thought I'd leave two stories with you because I have this habit of leaving people with thoughts. I don't like speaking in front of people where people are listening quietly to everything I say and assuming it to be right. I'd love people to challenge thoughts when I'm speaking. Because I'm not an oracle and none of us are. I mean, when someone teaches you Boyle's law,